The year is 1966, a time when America was in the midst of significant social and cultural changes. The Vietnam War was escalating, the civil rights movement was gaining momentum, and the space race was capturing the imagination of the nation. Amidst all this, Point Pleasant, a small town in West Virginia, seemed like a world apart. The place, Point Pleasant, West Virginia. A town with a rich history dating back to the 1700s, known for its picturesque landscapes and the confluence of the Ohio and Kanawha rivers. It was a place where time seemed to stand still, untouched by the rapid changes happening elsewhere. This small town, nestled at the confluence of the Ohio and Kanawha rivers, was like many others across America. It was a place where everyone knew each other, and life moved at a slower, more deliberate pace. The town's charm lay in its simplicity, and the strong sense of community that bound its residents together. Life was simple, people worked hard. The men often labored in factories or on farms, while the women took care of the home and children. There was a rhythm to life that was predictable and comforting. The daily routines, the familiar faces, and the shared experiences created a tapestry of life that was both rich and fulfilling. They knew their neighbors. Children played freely in the streets. The sound of laughter and the sight of children running and playing games were common. It was a time when parents didn't have to worry about their children's safety, and the community looked out for one another. There was a sense of community that ran deep. People gathered for church services, community events, and local fairs. These gatherings were more than just social events. They were the glue that held the community together. They provided a sense of belonging and a shared identity that was cherished by all. A sense of peace permeated the air. The town's serene environment, with its tree-lined streets and well-kept homes, created a feeling of tranquility. It was a place where people felt safe and secure, where the worries of the outside world seemed distant and unimportant. But this tranquility wouldn't last. Beneath the surface of this idyllic town, something was brewing. There were whispers of strange occurrences, of things that couldn't be easily explained. The sense of unease began to grow, casting a shadow over the town's peaceful facade. Something dark was lurking on the horizon, something unsettling. The once familiar and comforting surroundings began to feel different, as if an unseen force was at play. The townspeople could sense it, but they couldn't quite put their finger on what it was, something that would soon catapult Point Pleasant into the annals of the unexplained. The events that were about to unfold would defy logic and reason, leaving the residents of Point Pleasant questioning everything they thought they knew about their town and their lives. The Ohio River, a constant presence in their lives, seemed to whisper secrets on the wind. The river, which had always been a source of life and sustenance, now seemed to carry an air of mystery. Its waters, once calm and reassuring, now seemed to hold secrets that were waiting to be uncovered. Little did they know, those whispers would soon turn to screams. The events that were about to unfold would shatter the peace and tranquility of their town, leaving a lasting impact on the lives of its residents. The whispers of the river would become a haunting reminder of the mysteries that lay beneath its surface. The calm before the storm was about to break. The tension in the air was palpable, as if the town itself was holding its breath, waiting for the inevitable. The sense of foreboding grew stronger with each passing day, as the townspeople braced themselves for what was to come, a storm unlike any they could have imagined. The events that were about to unfold would challenge their understanding of reality and leave them questioning everything they thought they knew. It was a storm that would test their resilience and their faith in the world around them. A storm that would leave an indelible mark on their lives and the soul of their town. The events that were about to unfold would become a part of the town's history. a story that would be passed down through generations. It was a storm that would forever change the way the residents of Point Pleasant saw their town and their place in the world. The darkness descended on November 15th. The air was thick with an unsettling stillness, as if the night itself was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. The moon hung low, casting an eerie glow over the landscape, and the stars seemed to twinkle with a strange intensity. A group of friends, two young couples, were driving near the abandoned TNT plant just outside of town. They had heard the stories, the whispered tales of strange occurrences and eerie sightings, but they were young and adventurous, eager to experience the thrill of the unknown. The car's headlights cut through the darkness, illuminating the narrow, winding road ahead. The old World War II munitions factory stood shrouded in an eerie silence. Its crumbling walls and rusted machinery were a stark reminder of a bygone era, a time when the plant had been bustling with activity. Now, it was a ghostly relic, a place where time seemed to stand still. It was a place whispered about in local legends but rarely visited after dark. The stories told of strange lights, unexplained noises, and sightings of a mysterious creature that roamed the area. The locals called it the Mothman, a name that sent shivers down the spines of those who dared to speak it aloud. As they drove, a pair of glowing red eyes pierced the darkness. The eyes were unlike anything they had ever seen, burning with an intense, otherworldly light. They seemed to follow the car, watching, waiting. The eyes seemed to hover, disembodied, in the shadows of the plant. They moved with an unnatural fluidity, darting from one spot to another, always just out of reach. The friends exchanged nervous glances, their excitement giving way to a growing sense of dread. Fear gripped the couples, as they strained to see what creature could possess such an unsettling gaze. Their hearts pounded in their chests and their breaths came in short, shallow gasps. The darkness seemed to close in around them, suffocating, oppressive. Then it emerged. A large winged figure took shape before their very eyes. Its wings were massive, stretching out to either side, and its body was covered in a dark, shadowy form. The creature moved with a slow, deliberate grace, its eyes never leaving the car. Panic surged through the car. They sped away, hearts pounding, desperate to escape the chilling sight. The creature gave chase, its wings beating the air with a powerful, rhythmic force. The car's engine roared as they pushed it to its limits, the tires screeching on the asphalt. They had just become the first witnesses to what would soon be known as the Mothman. The creature's terrifying presence would haunt their dreams for years to come, a constant reminder of that fateful night. Their experience, shared in hushed whispers, sent ripples of fear through the community. People spoke of the Mothman in frightened tones, their eyes darting nervously to the shadows. The legend grew, fueled by the fear and fascination of those who heard the tale. The legend of the Mothman had begun. It would become a story passed down through generations, a chilling reminder of the unknown horrors that lurk in the darkness. The abandoned TNT plant, once a place of industry and progress, had become a symbol of fear and mystery, forever linked to the terrifying creature that called it home. Word of the encounter at the TNT plant spread like wildfire. The once quiet town of Point Pleasant was suddenly thrust into the spotlight. The TNT plant, an old World War II munitions factory, had always been a place of eerie silence and forgotten history. But now, it was the epicenter of a chilling mystery that would haunt the town for years to come. Soon, more and more people came forward claiming to have seen the same terrifying creature. The local newspaper was flooded with reports, each more terrifying than the last. Families huddled together, sharing their own encounters and trying to make sense of the inexplicable. The fear was palpable, spreading through the community like a dark cloud. Descriptions varied, but certain details remained consistent. Witnesses spoke of a creature unlike anything they had ever seen before. Some described it as a giant bird, while others insisted it was more humanoid. Yet the common threads in their stories painted a picture of something truly otherworldly. The Mothman, as it came to be called, was described as being at least 6 feet tall, with a massive wingspan that stretched 10 feet or more. Its presence was both awe-inspiring and terrifying, a dark figure that seemed to defy the natural order. The sheer size of the creature left many in disbelief, questioning their own sanity. It moved with an uncanny grace, gliding effortlessly through the air. Unlike any bird or bat, the Mothman's flight was almost hypnotic, a silent dance in the night sky. Those who witnessed it were left in a state of shock, unable to comprehend how something so large could move so fluidly. But the most terrifying feature, without a doubt, was its eyes. They were not just red, but a deep, glowing crimson that seemed to burn with an inner fire. These eyes were not just a physical trait, they were a window into something far more sinister. Glowing, red, and intensely piercing, the Mothman's eyes seemed to bore into the souls of those unfortunate enough to meet its gaze. Witnesses described feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, as if the creature could see into their very thoughts and fears. It was a gaze that left a lasting impression, one that haunted their dreams long after the encounter. Some witnesses claimed the creature even followed them, its glowing eyes like malevolent beacons in the night. They spoke of feeling watched, even when they were alone, as if the Mothman was always lurking just out of sight. This sense of being hunted added to the growing paranoia in the town. Fear and unease gripped Point Pleasant. Something was terribly wrong. The once peaceful town was now a place of anxiety and suspicion. Neighbors who had known each other for years began to look over their shoulders, wondering if they would be the next to encounter the Mothman. What was this creature, and what did it want? Theories ranged from a government experiment gone wrong to an omen of impending disaster. Some believed it was a harbinger of doom, while others thought it was a guardian, warning them of danger. The truth, however, remained elusive, shrouded in the same darkness that the Mothman seemed to thrive in.